In May, I remember doing some videos about this particular case, the case of Craig Williams and others. When prime ministers call snap elections, the shockwaves usually hit polling companies, party strategists, and the odd unsuspecting backbencher. What we didn't expect is the ripple effect across Ladbrokes. And yet here we are with 15 individuals largely connected to the Conservative Party, formally charged under Section 42 of the Gambling Act for allegedly placing bets based on confidential knowledge of the July 2024 general election date. And chief among them is the former MP and Sunak aide, Craig Williams, a man who once proudly occupied the backbenches and sat directly behind the Prime Minister and tapped him on the shoulder and passed him little billet doux. And now, in a rather more literal sense, he's heading to the dock. So here's the context. On May the 22nd, 2024, Rishi Sunak surprised everyone by announcing an election for July the 4th, contrary to widespread assumptions of an autumn contest. But 3 days prior, Williams reportedly placed a modest £100 wager on a July election. A flutter, he called it, but unfortunately the flutter has flown straight into a full-blown scandal. Craig Williams, who had once served as Sunak's parliamentary private secretary, effectively a trusted bag carrier with access to the Prime Minister's diary, was at the very heart of this debacle. It's the political equivalent of betting on a horse after you've watched the race in the paddock. Williams leads a crowded field. Among the others charged are Russell George, a sitting member of the Welsh Parliament, and also from Montgomeryshire, a sort of unlucky dip for political drama, it seems. Tony Lee, a former campaign director, and his wife, Laura Saunders, then a parliamentary candidate in Bristol North West. Household politics, indeed. More like trouser billiards. Nick Mason, not of the Pink Floyd fame, but a former Conservative data guru. Simon Chatford, head of marketing for the party, apparently good at campaigns, less good at keeping legal compliance. It appears, who knows, we mustn't judge, we mustn't prejudge, no prejudice here, just the raw facts. But under the most unfortunate headline magnate is one Jeremy Hunt, not the former Chancellor of the Exchequer, of course, but a former police officer, an ex-member of the Royalty and Specialist Protection Command, now apparently more familiar with the Gambling Commission than the Crown Prosecution Service. Who knew the man who inadvertently gave spoonerisms a renaissance now has a doppelganger caught up in an insider betting scandal? Truly, the odds were long. These individuals are accused under the Gambling Act 2005, which criminalises using confidential information to gain an unfair advantage in betting markets. The maximum penalty, 2 years imprisonment. This isn't about betting 10 quid on the Grand National. This is about alleged misuse of state-level information for private gain. And while a courtroom will ultimately determine their guilt or innocence, the political damage is already done. And so you have to divide this from... So of course, these people are innocent until proven guilty. That's the legal issue. But politically, their reputation is shredded. The Conservatives have already withdrawn support from Williams and Saunders. They did that before polling day. But by then the ballots had been printed and public trust had been shredded. And the new Conservative leadership has also acted swiftly. All staff currently employed who have been charged have now been suspended with immediate effect. Kemi Badenoch has been urged by Labour's Ellie Reeves, no less, to ensure that anyone found guilty is permanently expelled. No ifs, no buts. The Welsh Tory leader, Darren Miller, called for the suspension of Russell George, a neutral act, a phase one normally associates with diplomatic expulsions or the malfunctioning of washing machines. But this is more than a procedural hiccup. This is a case study in how modern political parties, obsessed with data, messaging and digital strategy, can still stumble over the oldest temptation in the book, money, or at least the whiff of easy winnings. And one has to ask, how did we get here? In an age when public trust in politics is already brittle, scandals like this add salt to an open wound. It's like excoriating the political system. It suggests not merely incompetence but entitlement, the belief that being inside the tent entitles one to sneak out the back and cash in on what they've overheard. Moreover, it drags the Gambling Commission, a body that typically policies, polices bookies, not ballots, into the political arena. That in itself speaks volumes, doesn't it? Meanwhile, figures like Kevin Craig, the Labour candidate who bet against himself and lost, have been cleared. Yet he now claims the ordeal ruined his campaign. So we're left in a position where even innocence is politically corrosive. The clear conclusion is that you don't bet on a political outcome if you're a politician. One cannot help but observe that British politics has taken a distinctly farcical turn, has been cheapened, where MPs gamble on elections, ministers gamble with facts, and the public is left gambling on who, if anyone, can be trusted. When what these MPs are telling you is that your cross on the ballot paper is just something very similar to a flutter in Ladbrokes. No, it's not. Your cross on a piece of paper is a symbol of our democracy in action. And these people, whether they're guilty or not of insider trading, who cares? They have already cheapened our politics. As for Craig Williams, his flutter may end up costing him more than £100. It may well cost him his reputation. But in the long odds of public redemption, that's very expensive. That's a very expensive bet indeed, isn't it? We shouldn't need laws to tell us that the politicians who are making our laws should not be betting on the outcome of a general election or the date of a general election or whether they're going to succeed in a general election. Common sense should tell them that this is akin to a sacred mission, a sacred duty, a sacred trust, and it shouldn't be cheapened in this way. Full stop.